You know, there's a simple five-letter word that you probably use all the time without even thinking about it. But what if I told you it holds a key to a whole system of global communication? Today, let's dive in and uncover the hidden power of the word plain.
Okay, be honest. Have you ever had that moment where you pause for just a split second, wondering which one of these to use? I mean, they sound exactly the same. If you have, trust me, you are in very good company.
In fact, it's one of the most common mix-ups in the English language. But this little point of confusion, it's actually the perfect doorway into a really fascinating story about how language works. So you might be asking, why are we dedicating a whole explainer to this one word? Well, it's because plain is a perfect example of a linguistic powerhouse. It's a word that does a ton of heavy lifting for us. So what makes it so powerful? It really comes down to this number right here, 850. See, plain is one of just 850 words on a very, very special list, a vocabulary that was designed to be a foundation for communication across the globe. And that list is part of a system called Basic English. The whole idea was to create this core vocabulary that you could learn fast, but that was still powerful enough to express really complex ideas. And to pull that off, you need words that can wear a lot of different hats. Words exactly like plain. All right, let's break this down. First, let's just look at its role as a noun. You might think you know what a plain is, but it's actually pulling quadruple duty here, playing four completely different roles. And this just shows its incredible range, right? First, you've got the vehicle, the airplane. Then, it can be a totally flat, two-dimensional surface in geometry class. It can also be this abstract metaphysical idea, like a higher plane of existence. And get this, it can also be a physical tool you hold in your hand for woodworking. Four totally distinct things, all from one word. And here's the one we're all most familiar with. This sentence, of course, uses plain to mean a vehicle. That's our default. But it's so important to remember those other three meanings are just as real. But wait, we're not done yet. Plain doesn't just sit there as a static object or concept. Nope. It can also be a verb, a word of action. So, as an action, it can mean to glide or soar, the way a bird might plane on the wind. And connecting right back to one of its noun forms, it can also be the action of using that woodworking tool to make a surface smooth. And grammatically, it's pretty straightforward. It's a regular verb, planed in the past, planing right now. Super simple grammar for a word that is anything but simple in how we use it. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. What's the big deal? This is where you can really see the genius behind a system like Basic English. Think about it. We just counted 4 noun meanings and 2 verb meanings. That's 6 jobs packed into one single 5-letter word. That is the absolute definition of efficiency in language. It's what lets a tiny vocabulary do a massive amount of work. And that's the secret sauce. The power of Basic English isn't about having a unique word for every single thing. It's about choosing a small number of incredibly flexible words, like plain, that can morph and adapt to fit all kinds of different situations. It's all about versatility, not volume. And that really brings us to the final thought. Plain isn't some weird exception. Our everyday language is absolutely full of these quiet little workhorses. It really makes you wonder, right? What other simple words are hiding this much complexity, right in plain sight?